My course is a Philosophy 201, Introduction to Ethics. I open up here with the course calendar. As you'll see, the scheduling is fairly rigorous for the course, which is why I want to open up with the calendar so the students will be able to see precisely what is due this week and then next week. Obviously, there's nothing in it now because the specific dates aren't loaded up yet. But once it is, there'll be quizzes due every Wednesday, and then a reading quiz due Wednesday, and a reading quiz due Friday, and then discussion boards for the whole week. So like everyone else, I have a start here week, but unlike everyone else, instead of using the folders, I actually decided to use tabs for each of the weeks. And as the week passes, at the beginning of week 2, I'm going to move down my week 1 down here to the bottom. So the current week will always be at the top, but the past stuff will be accessible down there at the bottom. Yeah, again, this is pretty much like everyone else's. Open up, I have an introductory podcast in which I sort of cover, so it's the sales pitch for the class, why study ethics. And then I close with a thought experiment that I ask them to think about. And then there is a discussion board, which I ask them to come in and weigh in on the thought experiment after that's done. There's also a walkthrough of the podcast, a podcast walkthrough of the syllabus along with the syllabus itself, and the joining VoiceThread information. I don't have them do any VoiceThread on the first week, but on the second week there will be. And then there's the reading and discussion schedule, which I may show you later on, but I think you might be able to get the basic idea just by looking at these first 4 weeks. So that's the first week, and the second week is our first moral theory. They have one reading for the week, John Stuart Mill's Utilitarianism, and then there's a PowerPoint, and right now it's a podcast, but it's going to be a voice thread. I'm going to translate that to a voice thread by the time the class actually goes live. So they'll have the first discussion board on the first week, and then the first voice thread the second week. This will be my first time using voice threads, so hopefully that will be graceful and painless. And then they have a reading quiz for the reading that they need to take as well. So this week is sort of a light duty. It's about half what they're going to get normal week, sort of try to warm them up to the content, and so they have an idea what to expect. And then we move on to week 3. They have 2 readings, 2 quizzes, and then a voice thread for each of those 2 readings. The first one on Kant's moral philosophy, and the second one on Aristotle's. And so the compromise I made is going to, as I mentioned before, I've been conflicted about how much voice thread to use versus how much discussion board to use, because I do really like the voice threads, the extemporaneous nature of it, the communal, the social, hearing people's voices, seeing people's faces. That seems to me it's going to be much more lively than the discussion boards, which I've been using a lot of. And there has been some really good content, but it's also been, I think, very sterile, very so text-based. So I wanted to get some voice threads in there, and the balance that I've sort of struck, which Larissa and Johan have helped me sort of find out, is that I'm going to be alternating week to week. So because the way most of the content in the course is structured, I think actually I'll go back and show you the reading schedule now so you can see this. Okay, never mind. I'll just describe it. It's a point-counterpoint class. We're talking about topics like abortion and euthanasia. We spend 2 weeks on each topic, 1 week looking at one side, and the next week we're looking at the other. And so the first week I'm going to have a voice threads in which everyone sort of weighs in off the top of their head, and then the second week I have a discussion board in which hopefully by then they've thought about it, they've seen both sides of the issues, and they've digested it, and they have sort of more refined thoughts that they can then type up. So there will be a voice thread every week, but they don't have to participate in the voice thread in the discussion board on the second week, because I want them to share their thoughts on the write-up discussion board for the second week. Yeah, and I think that's probably, I think that covers it.
Okay. So any questions for Garret? Have you started using VoiceThread yet?
No, I mean I played around with it, but I have not actually implemented anything full-born.
Just so you know, they have an iPad app. That's what I've been using to record my lectures.
Oh, nice.
And it's been really handy. Yeah, my computer freezes with VoiceThread, so I've been having to use the iPad, and it's been really handy. And you can lend one. You can borrow one. We lend out iPads.
Yeah, no, I have my own right there. But yeah, no, yeah, I've been using it on my desktop. I knew that there was an app, but I sort of assumed. I mean, I don't know if you ever tried the Blackboard app, but I think it's terrible.
You know, the app on the VoiceThread app is good.
That's good.
You
Okay.
set it out with the USI domain, which your instructional designer will help.
Yeah, that's probably not a problem.
Is this built for a summer course because there's only 4 weeks, or you're still building?
No, I'm still organizing the content. Yeah, yeah. No, there's going to be a total of 16 weeks when it's done.
I see groups there. Do you have a group?
Yeah, the discussion boards are going to be led by the students. So I lead the first one to model and demonstrate how it should be done, and then I'm going to break them up into groups. So they'll have the voice threads of the previous week to build on, and then in the second week they have to moderate and organize the discussion.
So they'll have a voice thread 1 week and then discussion the next week?
Yeah, well, there'll be a voice thread both weeks, but they have to participate in the voice thread the first week. The second week, they just watch it like a podcast, and then they have the discussion board.
In that way, you may want to give a more common name instead of voice thread, because that sounds like foreign to them. So you may want to call it lecture recording, even though it's on voice.
Even though it's on voice thread.
And the other one, you will say like, share your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And the discussion board will be class discussion. So you kind of separate that as how you design your curriculum versus introduce it with the technology title. Because oftentimes I feel that separates how students kind of, they get confused.
Yeah, I think that's a very good idea. I'll probably do that. Yeah.
Because you have a very creative activities that design, even though you use the same technology, but they're totally different things,
Mm-hmm.
then you need to create some sort of easy understand kind of name.
I think that I'll call lecture versus discussion discussion thread or something like that. Yeah.
What do you use for poll?
When I either give a thought experiment or so I'll say, like, do you kill one patient to save 5? Is that the right thing to do? Google Forms.
Oh, okay, cool. And then you can show them the results.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's really creative. And then the course, under course materials are papers.
Yeah.
Also, that's just so they get the course materials with all the handouts.
Yeah, the course materials there in case they want to just see all the PowerPoints in one space or all the voice threads.
Yeah, this is something I really liked about is that you organize your content in 2 different formats. The first 4 group of the tabs are organizing the content by time. And then this course material is organizing by type.
Mm-hmm.
So they can either, I can't remember what we did last week, then they use the weekly one. And if they, I want to know this particular PowerPoint, then they can go there, which is really, really handy.
That's the idea, yeah.